Is it really even a question who won the 2022 transfer portal? For a while, it looked like Ole Miss and Alabama were putting up a good fight, but when you take a look at USC's portal haul, you can't help but notice that they won the portal. In today's video, I want to talk about the guys that Lincoln Riley brought in, what kind of impact they could have on the program, and why they ended up winning the portal. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I really don't have time to talk about all 19 transfers, so I decided to pick 6 that I'm the most excited about. Let's first start with the more underrated one in Brendan Rice. You guys have probably heard of Jerry Rice, right? Well, his son Brendan was a big-time recruit coming out of high school and decided he was going to go to Colorado. He was the number 57 receiver and the 336th best player in the class of 2020. Colorado was kind of a surprise team in 2020, but his first 2 years were pretty underwhelming. He finished with 6 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns as a freshman, and then this past year had 21 catches for 299 yards and 3 scores. He also ran the ball a little bit and is seen as a guy who's athletic and has a high ceiling, and obviously he has the legacy, so I think he'll be a good fit at USC and will be a good weapon for Caleb Williams. Speaking of Caleb Williams, that is another guy they brought in. He's a 5-star transfer from Oklahoma, as he was also a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. We all know the Caleb Williams story, as Spencer Rattler struggled the first few games, got benched, and Williams took over and won the Red River rivalry. That was an incredible moment, and Williams finished the year with 1,912 yards passing and 21 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions and an 86.5 QBR, which was 4th in the nation. You also can't forget that he had 442 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns on the ground, and had the famous play where he pulled the ball out of Kennedy Brooks' hand and converted the 4th down against Kansas. Williams is a legitimate Heisman contender, is a top 3 quarterback in college football, and will be extremely fun to watch at USC and Lincoln Riley's system. He is the best player in the portal, and I cannot wait to see what he's going to do in Southern Cal. Is it even fair? Caleb Williams needs guys to throw the ball to, and he brought in 2 more superbly talented weapons, the first of which is Jordan Addison. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, and unlike most players, he decided to go to Pitt. Pitt is not known for signing 4-star receivers, but that is exactly what he did. As a freshman, he catch 60 passes for 666 yards and 4 touchdowns, but 2021 would be his breakout campaign. Led by Heisman finalist and first-round draft pick Kenny Pickett, Pitt football exploded, and Jordan Addison was a big part of that. He caught 100 passes for 1,593 yards and 17 touchdowns, while averaging 16 yards per catch, and he took home the Biletnikoff Trophy. It seemed he was going to stick around at Pitt to play with Keaton Slovis, but right as the deadline happened, Jordan Addison got bought. He caused one of the biggest sagas in college football over the last few months, as he went between Texas, Alabama, and USC, and there was a reported NIL deal of $1 million for Addison waiting there. We really don't know what happened, and at the time of me recording this video, there are no new details, but I can't help but think that Jordan Addison got bought, and this is one of the worst things I've ever heard in college football. It's good for USC fans, but the rest of the country is definitely annoyed, and it hurts Pitt. But in terms of his fit at USC, it's incredible. I mean, he's the Biletnikoff winner, and will likely be a first-round draft pick. He's going to be the go-to target for Caleb Williams, and he's going to be a star. The other guy that they brought in was Caleb Williams' best freshman receiver at Oklahoma, Mario Williams. Williams was a big-time recruit coming out of the state of Florida, and got an opportunity to play right away. He finished the 2021 season with 35 catches for 380 yards and 4 touchdowns, while averaging 10.9 yards per catch. He's one of the top freshman receivers in the nation, and was extremely explosive and fun to watch, and he's only going to get better in Lincoln Riley's offense. He'll now get to be with Caleb Williams for a 2nd straight season, and combined with all the receiver talent on USC, I think he'll be the 2nd best guy behind Addison. But getting this guy on the portal was huge for USC, and he would have been a big time get for any program. USC obviously has a lot of talent on offense, but the defensive side of the ball is where most people are worried about, and could be the reason why they aren't that good. That's at least in a relative terms, as they're likely going to get to the Pac-12 championship. The guy they brought in from Oklahoma is Latrell Mccutcheon. He was a 4-star corner in the class of 2021 and was a number 17th ranked player at his position. He didn't really get much of an opportunity to play last year for Oklahoma, but he'll likely get an opportunity to start right away for the Trojans, and he'll be a guy who in time will be really good for this program. They needed some defensive players, and he was ranked as a 4-star transfer, so I can't help but think he's a huge get. As we get to the final guy in today's video, this one sort of annoyed me as well. Coming out of high school, Travis Dye was always in the shadow of his brother, who was a star at Oregon, and he was only a 3-star running back. He decided to commit to the Ducks, and was sort of stuck alongside CJ Riddell. As a freshman, he ran for 739 yards and 4 touchdowns, and in 2019, he once again ran for 700 yards and no scores. 2020, he had limited action, but in 2021, he would take off. CJ Riddell was one of those September Heisman players after his performance against Ohio State and some pretty good numbers, but he ended up getting injured for the season, and that gave Dye the opportunity he had been waiting for. He took it and went off as he ran for 1,271 yards and 16 touchdowns, while averaging 6 yards per carry. After a 4-year Oregon career, many expected him to enter the 2022 NFL Draft, but instead, he decided to transfer from Oregon to USC, where he will more than likely be the starting running back for the Trojans. This guy has a lot of Pac-12 experience and has real NFL potential, so he'll be a great running back for them, and I'm definitely curious to see how he's going to do. Another thing that Lincoln Riley was really trying to do was improve the talent and experience on the defensive side of the ball. When we take a look at some of the other guys they picked up in the portal, there are a ton of them. He grabbed linebacker Carson Tabarici from Utah, a defensive lineman by the name of Sinjun Astani from San Jose State, a highly recruited 4-star corner from Washington by the name of Jacoby Covington, defensive lineman Solomon Byrd from Wyoming, who had 4 sacks last year, and the list continues to go on. They grabbed Eric Gentry, a linebacker from Arizona State, Bryson Shaw, a former safety from Ohio State, and then one of the other biggest pickups on defense, Shane Lee. Lee was a big-time prospect coming out of high school and chose to go to Alabama, but he has since transferred, and he'll likely get an opportunity to play right away. The list does not stop there, though. It's probably getting boring, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about all of them. You got Romello Height, a linebacker from Auburn, Mekhi Blackman, a corner from Colorado, Tyrone Taleni, a defensive lineman from Kansas State, and Earl Barkett, a defensive lineman transfer from TCU. There are so many guys they got that I really don't know much about them. Either way, I think it's safe to say that Riley grabbed some great offensive talent, filled up on experience and talent on the defensive side of the ball, and I think easily won the 2022 portal. Yes, Alabama grabbed some studs, and Ole Miss grabbed some elite players, but I don't think there's any question as to who won the 2022 portal, and that was Lincoln Riley and USC. I will be honest and say if you're not a USC fan, a lot of people are annoyed with this team, as it seems Lincoln Riley just grabbed a bunch of players from the portal and they paid for Addison. But again, we don't really know, and I will say college football is better when USC is good, so I'm curious to see how they are going to do, and despite everyone rooting against them, they could just be one of the best teams in the nation, and that is because of their 2022 transfer portal haul, which was by far the best in college football. What do you guys think though? If you're a USC fan, who is your favorite transfer? What are your expectations for the season? And what is your take on all the NIL stuff going on? Be sure to let me know down below. Let me know another school, topic, or player I can take a look at in my next video. And don't forget to like and subscribe before you check out the other videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.